Good evening and welcome to PRTvSpurs, Paxton Road TV. It's that time, it's that weekend where Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are back in action. And boy, are we back in action. Aston Villa at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Joining me to do the preview is the one, the only, at Sam Spurs for Life. Good evening, Sam. How has your international break been?
Boring. You watch the England games. To be honest with you, I don't even know the scores. God's honest truth, I don't even know the scores in the England games because I watched part of it. I didn't watch them to the end. I know the Macedonia game, they were losing it. Well, I don't know what happened. So yeah, I'm glad it's gone. Glad it's gone, mate.
Yeah, do you know what? I think a lot of people don't miss the international break. I think they drew 1-1 with Macedonia. Harry Kane came on second half and scored the goal. They went 1-0 down. But anyway, we're not here to talk about England, as you know. We're here to talk about Tottenham. So, in Tottenham Hotspur world, how's the 2 weeks been, in your opinion, in terms of players going international duty, coming back, playing for their respective countries? I know some players have played, which is very good for us, i.e. Bentancur. Some injured, some didn't play, some got injured, Ashley Phillips. In terms of that, is this now a good time to be having international breaks?
You know what? I didn't really, because of, like I said, I'm really more about the Premier League and obviously Tottenham Hotspur. The England thing and the international breaks don't really appeal to me, as I've mentioned before. So I didn't even really follow the other teams because I'm only interested in them when they get to the tournament stages and we know what's happening. Once all this qualification and it's just all kind of boring. So I don't really know what's happened with the players. My main concern is to make sure that our players who have gone away on international duty haven't been overextended and that they come back fit and healthy so that they can play for us. Because we've got a big game on Sunday. That's the biggest thing that we've got to think about. It's a big game. Lots of teams in the Premier League are going to be playing each other in and around the top of the league. So us being at home, yeah, we can go in. I've got a Postecoglou thing up here on BBC just in terms of some of the things he said, so we can talk about that as we go along. But we've got to win. That's it.
This is it. It's like you said, Sam. It's a massive game, absolutely huge game for both clubs. Actually, you know, the fact that we've lost the last two, and the last team you want to be playing against. Every team in the Prem, it's not easy, is it? It's not easy at all. You want to win, and to be fair, you don't want to be playing Aston Villa, especially with Mr. Emery doing his bits. I'm just trying to copy a link to send to Pav so she can join us on stream.
Okay.
But yeah, Villa's not the team that you really want to be playing at this time, straight after the international break. But we move on, we go along. So looking at that, then let's just get with it. And before I go, everyone joining us in the comment section on whether you're watching us on PRTvSpurs or Paxton Road TV, on Twitter, wherever you're watching us, wherever you're listening to us, make sure, please, you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. It's not going to cost you anything. Electricity and gas prices are going up, but guess what? PRTvSpurs and Paxton Road, we're being frozen. So just smash it. Join us. Put your comments in, and we will obviously listen to you guys, and we'll put your comments up as well. Plenty to go. Plenty of action. Right. So Sam, Aston Villa. Here we go. Let's do this then. I'm not. Do you know what? Right. So before we talk, let's introduce our very own Pav, Positive Pav Jew. Good evening, Pav. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Pavski, yes. What are you saying? You all right?
Yeah. You okay?
You see, Sam. You seen the glee and the sparkle and. Look, she's in glorious technicolor today. She's buzzing. She's alive. Where's our guy? He's not in. Look, he's not in today, and he's missing the beauty. Look, see? Right, Pav. We was just gonna talk about the game. So, looking at the league table, and this is why, like Sam said, Pav, Massive game this weekend. Manchester City are top of the table on 28 points, played 12. We've all played 12. Liverpool in second place on 27. Arsenal 27 points. Spurs 26 points. Aston Villa 25 points. And then obviously you got Man United on 21, Newcastle on 20, and Brighton on 19. Pav, looking at that league table now, we've lost the last two. So we've let, obviously, the other teams catch up, overtake us. How now is how we'll talk about the next 4 games later, but how important now is this game on Sunday?
It's so important. If you look at how close those top 4 teams are, it's really close. And even between us and Aston Villa, there's 1 point difference. They win, they go above us. We win, we're 3 points ahead. And it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a very big game between us and Aston Villa. Villa's going to go all in. We need to go all in. And obviously we've got a massive disadvantage with the red cards and the injuries. We've just got to give it our all, but you can tell, look at it, like Arsenal's 1 point ahead of us, Liverpool's 1 point ahead of us, Man City 2 points, and then Aston Villa 1 point behind us. That's crazy. Look how close we're all 5 of us are.
Yeah, exactly. And just before you came on, me and Sam were talking about that, you know, how massive all the games are now. So the league table, you know what? I think people wanted this, didn't they? People wanted everyone to be in it or thereabouts, and you can't tell anything until January. Is when the actual table starts sort of putting itself in places.
Yeah, 100%.
I think between now and Christmas, I don't know if you agree, Sam, there's a lot of big games starting this weekend, and the table is now going to start setting in stone in places for where people are prospectively going to end up. Do you now think now between now and Christmas is where we sort of start separating the men from the boys?
So you're going to get, there's regular games now until Christmas. Then you've got obviously the Christmas period when there's a few more games in a row. So you're right. Up until, I guess, from now until January, early part of January, we'll see what that league table looks like. Because when you've got to play successive games as well as Champions League game for some of these other clubs as well, it's going to mean that things are going to change. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be suspensions. That's why you probably got to wait. And that's why we as Spurs fans never really was like looking at it and saying, we're going to win the title, but we're in the race. This is a race. If you can look down to even Brighton in 8th place, they're only 9 points different from Manchester City. We've seen if you lose 2 games in a row, how that can affect you. So effectively, if Brighton keep winning and, you know, people above them start losing, I know there's a lot of teams between them, but they're effectively going to be able to bring teams into it. So for my benefit, you know, my perspective, should I say, I just want us to just go out there and perform, but just win. We have to win the game. We can't have 3 games. We can't have 3 on a trot. That would start putting real doubts into people's mind about what's happening, and that's what we've got to try. So not even a draw. We'll get to the predictions in a little while, but that's me. That's how I'm feeling, mate. That's how I'm feeling.
Is it now getting to that point now where, sorry guys, but it's starting already 7 minutes in. Is it a point where we now go, looking back over my shoulder, I can see the points in my eyes? Because everyone's looking over their shoulders, because technically, Aston Villa can go joint top. Tottenham can go top. Arsenal can go top. Liverpool can go top. City can extend the lead. You know what I mean? So the palpitations and whatever's going to happen this weekend, the world's the oyster. And that's what I like. Right. So 56 times Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa have locked horns. We've won 24 of them. Aston Villa have won 17. At home, Spurs have won 14. Aston Villa have won 7. 10 away. 10 home. 15 draws. We've got a decent record against them at home. 14 games. They've only won at our place 7 times. What are we saying about that? 56 meetings, 24-17. Does that make anyone favourite, Sam? Or is it just a matter of week in, week out? This doesn't make a difference now.
You got to look at see whether some of these games were played. Obviously, the recent record is going to give you a little bit more information. We've played them a lot of times. You can see it's not. We've got a better winning percentage than they have, but ultimately, you know, they're a good team now. So what we've got to look at is what they're doing now, as opposed to all those games ago. We'll see what the last 5 games or whatever it is we look at, but they're a good team, mate. So we've got to watch out for the Villa team right this moment.
Yeah, Pav. Like Sam says, we've played them a lot of times. So
yeah, I was going to say, I think Sam nailed it on the head. You know, Emery's kind of transformed them, and they're a better team. And you can see now the way that they're playing, and they're 1 point behind us. So it's going to be very different. Yes, you're looking at the stats, and obviously we've got a better record, but completely different now. And like I said before, we're at a disadvantage here. So it's going to be interesting.
Do you know the disadvantage you're talking about, injuries and suspensions, right? Do you know what? I think it's not only Spurs now. I think look at Newcastle United's list as well. They're losing a lot of players, and I think because of the international breaks, because of all this stop. We touched on this yesterday, Sam, didn't we? All this touch start, you know, in games where he's taking 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Players are getting into games, and then you're stopping for 7-8 minutes for a stupid VAR decision, and then the players have lost that ascendancy, and then body's gone cold kind of thing, and it's taking time. Van der Ven, for example. So a lot of injuries are occurring now, and the problem we've got, and like you're saying, Pav, we haven't got a squad that's deep enough, and that's why we're feeling it more than anybody else, and that is the biggest issue. And now I think Postecoglou's now, I think, realizing that, you know what, and I think he said it in his press conference today, I was expecting injuries, I was expecting suspensions, but not altogether. He says, not altogether. So that is the thing. Right. Meetings. 19th of May, 2021 at the Hotspur, we lost 2-1. 2021, we won 2-1 at the Hotspur Stadium. 4th of April, 2022, we won 4-0 at Villa Park. 1st of Jan, 2023, we lost 2-0 at home. And 13th of May, 2023, we lost 2-1 at Villa Park. Pav, 3 defeats, 2 wins, and 1 at home, 2 away. So does this, like we said at the beginning, it's not an easy game, is it?
No, it never is. Yeah. And especially now with the team that they've got, and look how well they're doing, it's going to be even tougher now. And yes, you know, the past results, you look at the defeats or whatever, but remember who we were playing under, okay? Just remember that. Right now we've got Ange, and obviously I know, like I said before, we are going to struggle a bit, but we've got to go in with everything now, and we've got to hope that Ange has got some sort of plan. Don't know what plan it's going to be, and yes, it's going to be a very, very tough game, but we've got to go in and do something.
Sam, our record against them at home, and I've gone last 4. 2019, we beat them 3-1. May 21, we lost 2-1. October the 3rd, 2021, we won 2-1. And 1st of January, 2023, we lost 2-0. So 1-2, lost 2. Obviously, we don't believe in draws recently. Is it a worry?
So this is the home games that we've played against them. Our home games. This
is our home games. Last 4 home games we've played them. Yeah.
Okay.
1-2, lost 2.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think I'm not really going to look at those results before, because I think Pav said it right. They was under different management. You know, go back to 2019, there's a different manager there. 2021 was probably a different manager there, and definitely 2023 there was a different manager. So that's probably under 3 different managers than that. So now we've got a style of play, I think a bit of a more philosophy. The argument to that is that I think Villa are probably ahead of us in terms of where they are, in terms of their kind of style philosophy. And I think this is geared up for Villa to play ultimately against us, because the way that we play, being at home, we're going to be on the front foot anyway. We're going to play the high line. Villa have got the capacity and the players to really be able to get us in the counter attack, and certainly that transitional play that they're going to utilize with the pace that they've got. And they've actually got someone in Ollie Watkins at the moment that is finishing. So when you've got that combination, they've got ratters in midfield, as I like to call them, with that John McGinn. I like that Douglas Luiz. If all them players are available, it's going to be a tough game. But as I said to you, it's more about us in terms of our mentality, because we've had 2 games that we've lost on the bounce, and we won't want that sort of seeping in of energy to start coming in. This is what Angie's now got to make sure, regardless of who's on the pitch, because like you said, there's injuries all around.
Yeah.
We're at home. We have to make sure that we take that advantage.
So, last 5 games, we beat Luton 1-0, Pav. They drew with Wolves 1-1. We beat Fulham 2-0. 4-1 against West Ham, they beat. We won against Palace 2-1. They beat Luton 3-1. You know our next 2, what's going to happen. We lost 4-1. They lost 2-0 to Forest. We lost 2-1 to Wolves, and they won 3-1 to Fulham. So they obviously they win and they draw and they're losing games as well. They lost 2-0 to Forest. They drew with Wolves. We lost to Wolves, although we should have really won that game. Up until we lost our last 2 games, we was on a mad run, 8-9 wins, and then we've had 2 on the bounce. They've drawn, lost games. So looking at the last 5 results, they've won 3, lost 1, drawn 1. We've won 3, lost 2. I'm still not bothered about the last 2 results, because Chelsea was an anomaly. Wolves, we just lost, not confidence. I think caution, and I think they just lost. What's the word I'm looking for?
Focus. Concentration.
Yeah, focus and concentration. So them 2 games I'm not looking at. Now I'm looking at how we react on Sunday against Aston Villa. Does this bother you at all in the terms? Obviously, it does, that we've lost the last 2 games and we need to win big time. But apart from that, does it really set alarm bells for you?
Not really. I mean, you can see where we dropped, which was the Chelsea game, and obviously we got the injuries picking up from then, and then the red cards picking up from them. But other than that, like you said, Wolves we should have won. We just lost our heads and we completely gave up in the end, and that's what we can't do now. Is that we have to completely switch that up, and we can't be giving up, and especially with, like, say we're winning. Like we were winning with that, and then we ended up giving up. We can't do that with this. We've got to keep our heads together and carry on until the end, and that's what we've got to do. Because if we don't, it's going to end up like the Wolves result. So, but we can do it. It's not that we can't do it. We can do it. It's a perfect example there. We just can't lose our heads. We can't give up. We can't just be ignorant and just say, yeah, whatever, we're winning, and then end up conceding.
Sam, did we lose our heads? Did we give up against Wolves, or was it just lack of concentration towards the end?
To answer part of your question that you asked before, is it a concern? And I know you guys have kind of said it's not really a concern. Slightly different in terms of the opinion. The way we played in the Chelsea game, great. Yeah, we could have won, all the rest of it. But then ultimately it showed how he's going to play the game. He's going to play it a certain way. He doesn't seem to want to change that way. We're going to play this high line. So that was the first concern for me. Obviously, the Wolves game, the next concern with me is that certain players were out, and then we lost other players in that game as well. And I think when you get to 90th minute, having been leading the game for 88 of those minutes, to lose it in the way that we did is going to have a little bit of an effect mentally. Yeah. But then to compound that, they've had an international break, so they've not been able to do anything on the training ground as a group. They haven't been able to.
We've lost you, Sam. We've lost you. You've gone on mute. I don't know if you've knocked your mic or something, but
Is that?
that's better now. You're back. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was ranting and raving a little bit.
You was.
No, let's just end with that bit. Is yeah, because we've got some players out, obviously concerns with suspensions as well, and he's not been able to get the group together to be able to get anything done on the training ground over until the last few days, which is the same for them. It's not any different for them, but
Yeah.
As I said, they've got more of a collective, and I don't know what their injury situation is saying, but the style of play is what I'm now concerned about in terms of how we're going to approach the game. Because of the defenders that we might potentially be playing tomorrow, we'll look at the team when you put it up, but that's where we're going to have the problems.
Yes. Pav, I think there was some players still stayed here in training. They've come back and started training again. I don't know how many, like you said, Sam, I don't know how many of Villa players were on international duty or not. But I think for me, if they've gone in international duty and they've actually played a game, I'm happy with that because it's keeping them fit and it's keeping them focused. They're not sitting around for 2 weeks, not doing anything. Coming into training, yes, you're not training with the whole team. So it's sort of not intense, is it? You're sort of doing individual training. Does playing international games and then coming back a couple of days training with the team, is that a good thing, Pav, or would you just rather have them here just training?
No, I think it's a good thing. I think, like you said, it's keeping them fit, right? Obviously, it has its negatives as well sometimes because injuries can be picked up, but I reckon it's a good thing because you're keeping them fit. You're not having a break. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. For some of them players, because they haven't played much game, haven't had a game. For instance, like Bentancur, he's been getting like 20 minutes here, 50 minutes there. He's probably been starting for Uruguay, although I haven't seen anything of it, but I'm imagining that he's been starting for Uruguay. So he's getting that match sharpness up. You're right in that sense. Other players, again, I'm a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just a little bit, guys, blasé, because I don't even know what's been going on in international in terms of who's been playing. So I'm just a bit ignorant in the fact that I'm talking about players that I don't know who've played or not. But if they have, and they're playing for us, and they've not picked up any injuries, that's all good. Because, as I said, there's a lot of players in our squad who maybe haven't had enough game time.
Yeah, I'll when I put the team up, I'll tell you about the players that played and didn't play and stuff like that because I sort of kept an eye on our players anyway. Right. So, in terms of the season so far, it used to be good every week, but now it's sort of, here we go. We're fourth, Aston Villa are fifth. Both teams have won 8 games. Tottenham have drawn 2, Villa have drawn 1. We've lost 2, they've lost 3. Average goals scored per match, Aussie slowly going down now. 2, they scored 2.42. Average goals conceded per match, Tottenham's 1.25, Aston Villa's 1.42. Clean sheets 4, Aston Villa 2. Chances created per match 2.17, Sam. 2.17 Aston Villa. Biggest win 6-1 Villa, 5-2 for Spurs. Our biggest defeat 4-1. Our worst Villa's worst defeat 5-1. So Sam, in terms of goals scored per match, we're both doing 2. Goals conceded, we're both just under 1.5. And chances created per match 2.17. That tells me that this is not going to be a 0-0.
Yeah. Going back to Aston Villa, I said that they probably might play on a bit of a counter-attacking game and they've got the players to do that. But obviously they haven't won away from home in the last 5 games that I saw up there. So they haven't been a good team to travel. So does that mean that they come to try and win all the games that they play in the same way that we do? If that's the case, it's going to be a bloody open game. But what I'm knowing about Emery, I just recall him when he was at the Seville manager. He was able to change his game. He can change things up and play a different way if needed to. I don't think he's always been a gung-ho type manager or coach, whatever. He does have that tactical nous. And I think that's the key bit for me in this game tomorrow, Sunday, where you might need to play something a little bit different than what we've been doing because you don't want it to be just a basketball game you know, the old 4-3s and Newcastle days from old. I want it to be a controlled performance, but I don't know if we've got the personnel playing on Sunday to be able to control the game. And it's gonna be tough, but like I said, get to predictions, mate. Let's get to predictions when you're ready.
Yeah. Pav? Anything stick out for you? Anything stick out for you?
No, I think Sam pretty much nailed it on the head, and I think, like you said, Sam, I think they're gonna play counter attacking, and I think it's gonna be a tough game, and it's not gonna be a boring one, and it's gonna be very much back and forth, I reckon.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be a tough game, and we've just got to go in with our heads held high, and we've got to win this thing.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Oh.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Wait, who's that again?
Yeah. Two managers. Both love to attack. Both know how to play football. Both will be going for the, what do you call it, the juggernaut. And like you said, both teams are not going to sit back, or both managers are not going to sit back and say, right, lads, let's defend. They've got players that can win games. And it's going to be very interesting. Right. So, to the team news. Right, Sam, team news-wise, right?
Yep.
Romero played for Argentina and bossed the game. He kept another clean sheet for Argentina. I watched the highlights. That game was marred by violence from the police on the pitch. It was, honestly, the Argentina were getting the lumps kicked out of them by Brazil. But the highlights I saw 15 minutes of it. Romero was just like a Rolls Royce, man. It was, everything was being played back, and the guy was just walking, passing, doing what he had to do. He made one clearance. Apparently, they said he was the star man for them. Emerson Royal apparently was the star man for Brazil. So we had two of our players, both starring for them. Benton Cole played for Uruguay. Ashley Phillips got injured for the under-21s. And they reckon he could be out for up to a month, according to Postecoglou. Right? But I'll show you what I think the predicted lineup's going to be, right? Because he's obviously confirmed one thing. So, number 876 in goal. 870 Pedro Porro at right back. Destiny comes back, 858. And then, unfortunately, 795 Dyer and 796 Davis. The back five, I think, will be this. Ashley Phillips is now out of the equation for another month. So, in terms of defense-wise, there's no one else you can bring in. Ladies, gents, any alterations to that, or are we sticking to that?
You can't play that.
Sticking to it, but no, I don't want to see this. I do not want to see this.
Can't play with Davis and Eric Dyer at centre back and expect to win the game.
But who comes in, Sam?
I didn't realise about Ashley Phillips being out for a month. That's my ignorance.
Yeah.
But I think you're gonna have to give one of those Dorrington. Is it Dorrington?
Dorrington, yeah. But
you're gonna have to give him a go. You're gonna have to. In my head, and the reason I'm saying, what's the worst that can happen for him as a player? I know he's a young player and you put him in that situation, but you don't know. You want to see what they're like. We already know. I know how this will turn out with Dyer in there, because Dyer hasn't got the pace and he relies too much on this offside thing, and he doesn't look behind him. He's got no clue who's behind him or who's offside or who's not. And they have got players that could score goals. They're averaging more goals than us per season. That's because they're attacking. They're conceding a lot. That's shown because they're attacking again. It's going to be a basketball game. And these two can't play basketball.
But the thing is, simply is, Dyer and Davis, total of 20 years experience of crap. Jews not have to play Dyer at centre back. There is no other choice. The problem is, Postecoglou will not risk a youngster, especially Dorrington. Ashley Phillips, maybe, but like Sean said the other day, from his contacts or whatever in the academy, they're saying that he's still not up to that level that they want him. So he's gonna go with Davis and Dyer. We've said this week in, week out, yeah. But he's going with experience. He's gonna go with players that are tried and tested. Pav, do you think? Is there anyone else that you think that can come in?
I think Sam said it. Like, just risk it and play the other player. Don't play them two together. It's self-explanatory. Okay, we've seen it last game.
Asking for trouble.
It can't happen.
Not if you're going to play a high line, Pav. If you play that high line, these two are not no athletes in terms of pace. They can't do it. Ben Davies could get bullied. Eric Dyer is a donut in terms of being able to spot a runner. It's a disaster. We have to, if we play differently by playing 5 or 10 yards back, maybe. But if I see them playing on the halfway line, I know what's going to happen in this game on Sunday. I know what's going to happen.
It's going to be a disaster. I'm telling you this. Oh, come on.
I was there, all thinking I'm going to think, yeah, we've got to win. But we can't win if these two play in a certain way that we've been playing all season. That's the whole reason why we brought in Van der Ven, because of his pace. Because imagine Van der Ven wasn't playing and Ben Davies was in most of those games this season. Do you think we'd have had 10 wins or whatever it is we're doing? Fuck off.
But remember, 91 minutes we kept a clean sheet at Wolves with them two at the back.
Yeah, but then also remember who was at fault for those 2 goals.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know. I'm just
When you
listen.
need someone to concentrate. Eric Dyer switches. Yeah, it wasn't all Eric Dyer, but a lot of it was Eric Dyer for the first goal. And the second goal against Wolves was all fucking Eric Dyer. All fucking Eric Dyer.
So, shall we remove Dyer and Davis and replace them with a big red royal double-decker bus?
That's not me. That has said you've got to knock me. That have. But
no, but you know what?
Together, it's got to knock my.
Look, Dyer is our donor. Simply AC saying here, experience of crap only at Spurs. If we don't give youngsters a chance, how do we know? Right. Okay, so who you putting in then, Sam, instead of Dyer and Davis tomorrow on Sunday?
You can't play them both. And the point is, one, Dyer's he's not committed. Not to say that non-committed players aren't going to give their best, but his best for Spurs recently has been rubbish. So he's moving in the summer. He's already clearly stated that.
January.
What's he going to gain by playing to the top of his game? Risking injury, getting a farewell pat on the back. There's nothing. He's getting paid every week, whether he plays or not. So that's what I'm saying. The mentality of them players. He conceded 2 goals in 3 minutes the last time we played. And I don't think it bothers them players. I don't think it does, because there's no real accountability. So because of that, if they go into the same mold that we've seen before, they get a bit of pressure, the first goal goes in, I don't think these two are big enough and strong enough mentally to cope with what Villa could do. So play a youngster. I don't care which one you take out. Dyer probably the one. It depends on if he's playing on the right side and you want to play a right-sided player and he's predominantly right-sided, then it has to be Dyer. If he's a left-sided, then take Davis out. But I'm saying, oof.
Do you go with? Would you put Emerson in then, as like Henry's saying, instead of Dyer, and play Emerson and Davis at the back?
I'd probably play Dyer and Emerson as opposed to Davis and Emerson. The reason being, I think Emerson's got more physicality than Davis has, and I think you've seen Ollie Watkins. If I was Ollie Watkins, I'd be like, right, I'm on Davis. I'm going to bully him. There's only 2 central defenders. So if you play a 4-4-2, which I expect him to do, Dyer's going to be occupied, or mentally should be occupied by another player. The strongest player in that Aston Villa team in terms of goal scoring is Ollie Watkins currently. He plays off Davis. He's going to have a fucking field day, physically and pace-wise. So it's a mismatch, in my opinion. That's why you've got to do something else to try and either mitigate that mismatch by playing a different way, dropping that line 5-10 yards. I don't think we're going to see that, so we have to go with whatever happens.
Simply AC's got a formation, 2 centre backs. Play Sam and Sid at centre back. I'm a goalkeeper, mate. I'm a goalkeeper, and I'm too short, so I can't. Anyway, listen. How about you like this one? Not a lot. How about we play Vicario at centre back and put Forster in goal? You might do a better job. But no, honestly,
in all seriousness, that if they're both fit,
Yeah,
that
okay.
is going to be the two that's going to play.
Yeah,
I know that. We know that. Now. I'm just very frustrated. I know that that's going to be the two that play. It's just frustrating.
It is. It is. Now, we can have a discussion on this forever and ever, the back five, but we've got to move on because it's only a preview show. The midfield, again, we're going to have another big debate on this one because I'm going with Hojbjerg to come in for Basuma. Sam, Papasar got injured midweek on international. He's had a knock. However, Postecoglou said they're assessing him. He didn't train today, but they're assessing him. But he's not ruled him out. But I've still gone with Saw because Skip didn't train either today. So I don't know. But I think Hojbjerg goes there. Saw goes there. I know we're going to have a debate. Now, and then obviously Benny comes in there, right? Now, the reason I put in Benny there is because listen to this. This is what Marcelo Bielsa said, right? Through a number 6 by trade, Bielsa believes the midfielder could occupy any position on the pitch. He is a player that is difficult to find an area of the midfield that he is not in a position to assume. There are not many players who defend like a holding midfielder, who attack and defend like an interior, like a number 8, like a mixed midfielder, and that when they reach the rival area, he has the resources, the qualities of an offensive midfielder. It is a very special case within football in general. A player who in himself meets the conditions for all the places on the field. Today, he stood out clearly. Uruguay manager on Bentancur's performance in midweek. Apparently, they were raving about him. So I think Bentancur in the attacking position kind of thing to play as a playmaker as well as because he can go and get the ball.
Can I just say who did they play? Who's
Aston Villa.
play? No, who did Uruguay play that he got that praise
they
about?
played Bolivia. And I had that discussion with my boy. It's
That's
Bolivia.
what I'm saying.
Of
It's
course.
Bolivia.
Of course.
It's like saying, GLC had a fantastic game, but it was against, do you know what I mean? Hull
But
City.
he's come back from injury, Sam, and for him to play a
No,
full
I'm
game-
not
You know what I'm
saying about usage. What I'm saying is we've got to take it into consideration about. I know what the manager's doing. I know what Bielsa's doing. He's obviously got to build the player up. He knows what quality that Bentancur has, but just because he did that against Bolivia, we've got to see him do that. If he does that against Villa at the weekend, then we can say yeah. But we know the Premier League's a different level in terms of the way the game's played. Particular South American football, very slow pace. It suits someone coming back from injury to be able to play at that sort of pace. Now, come Sunday, the pace ain't going to be slow. We already know this game's going to be a high velocity. So that's when I want to see if Bentancur can come back to the standards that he has had and set last season.
We've got some complaints coming in as well, independent complaints. So Jews Nutsy saying so much swearing in the last 2 streams. What the is going on with you lot? So Pav, do we have to go easy on Bentancur because he's coming back from an injury? We did say that, but Bentancur wanted to come back a lot earlier, but Spurs held him back because they wanted him fully fit. Now he's got a bit of more game time, and for Uruguay, does he have to start for us now, given the suspensions and injuries?
Yeah, I think he does have to start, and I think because he's had that time in international break as well to play, I don't see why there would be an issue. He's had that time away, and I think it is about time now. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to bring him on. And it was funny just listening to what you were saying about what the Uruguay manager was saying about him and how they were playing against Bolivia. But anyway, yeah, no, I reckon I'd say start him.
Yeah. So, any of you to change that midfield three, or do you bring in Donnelly? Do you bring in somebody else? What are we saying this is what's going to start on Sunday?
If in my opinion, if those three players are fit, that's the three that should start.
Yeah. Pav?
No, I agree.
Okay. We'll move on to the front three. Obviously, it's not going to change because there's certain things in life that it never changes, doesn't it? And it's going to be Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, and Captain Marvel Son. I'll open the floor. I don't think there's anybody else that can come in them positions. Agree?
Yeah, I don't think anyone else will. And I mean, the front three has to step up. I mean, we saw Son in Wolves. Where was he? Where was Son? I don't know about you guys, but I don't see anything of him. So he's got to step up in this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. There's no one else I'd put in the front three.
Cool. Sam?
Yeah, that's got to be the front three, innit?
Yeah.
Who's going to push him? Because we don't know about what's his name. Oh, God.
Richarlison?
No, not Richarlison. We know he's injured. The floppy head one looks...
Gill.
Oh, Gill! What did
Gill.
Brian Gill? I'm not sure. He's the only other one that could push for it.
Yeah. And I don't think he'll start, to be fair. I don't think he'll start. Right. So that's what we think is going to be the team. If there's anything different, then we shall find out. Right, it's that time again then, people. Everybody in the comment section. That's the preview. That's the team. I don't think Gill will start anyway, but what are we saying then? What are we saying? People in the comment section as well, please make sure you put in your prediction for this weekend. Sorry, Prime, I'm just laughing at Sam.
I just saw it. I was laughing if I said that. Anyway, sorry, private joke, people.
Prediction.
Joke.
Right, hold on. Before you make your prediction, Simply Ace is gone already. Spurs 1, Aston Villa 4.
Okay.
And then he's apologised. You don't need to apologise, Mr. Simply Ace. It's your opinion. Go for it. If you think that's that. I'll start with you, Pav.
Great. So I don't know if you've noticed, guys. I actually added an S onto my PvP because I am not positive going into this match. Okay.
What's the S stand for?
Sometimes.
And it's going to be a very tough game, but I'm going to say we're going to finish with a draw, and I'm going to say a 2-2. It's going to be a tough game. You know, we're at a massive disadvantage. It's not going to be easy, but I've got a bad feeling. And just for that, I'm going to say draw, so 2-2.
So you're going to do a Desmond and a Conge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Juice Nuts is hoping for a win, but Ange to pull a rabbit, but can see a 1-1. He ain't Paul Daniels, and he's definitely not Tommy Cooper. Just like that. Just like that. Sam, what you saying?
I was being bullish earlier before I looked at that team sheet that you put up, because obviously we've lost 2 games on the bounce. I know what Villa's going to come with. I know that we've got players out. Basuma thing's going to be a big miss, but Bentancur, yep, we know he's coming back. But we've got to wait and see. It's going to be one in that defensive area for me. If we can manage to somehow score as many goals as they score, I can see it being, like Pav said, 2-2 or 3-3. If we can't get the goals, they are still going to score goals against us. I'm telling you this now, because we've seen every team that's come to Spurs this season have opportunities to score goals, and I think most teams, we haven't had that many clean sheets. I think it's 4 we've had, but we'll have to look back. But certainly, a lot of teams have had opportunities to score. So, waffling done. What am I going to say? I'm going to say 3-3.
You going for a 3-3?
Yeah, only because I've changed. I was going to be 3-2 to us until you put that bloody team up with Ben Davies and bloody Eric Dyer in the same back line. I can't have that. I can't have it.
It is what it is, isn't it? Unfortunately, circumstances are. we don't have to have a crystal ball to work out what our defense is going to be between now until after the Man City game when Romero comes back.
Okay.
Romero comes
Can I
back.
say
Then,
something?
yeah.
What do you think's going to happen against Man City if Ben Davies and Eric Dyer play there as a high line? I'm not talking about playing on the edge of the box. As a high line against Doku.
We get
Next
smashed.
Saturday preview show will discuss that.
They're fucking flying there. They're fast as hell. It will be a nightmare. Sorry, we've gone on to another bloody game.
Yeah.
Let's concentrate on Villa.
That will be an extended preview for the Man City game because you're gonna be in fit. Simply Ace is already predicting the score for Man City. Mr. Ace, calm down. We'll do that next week. David Clock is saying here Spurs as tomorrow in training to see if he's fit. If Sai is fit tomorrow, Spurs 2, Villa 1, Vicario saves a penalty. And you're saying 3-3, Sam, right?
Yeah, I'm saying 3-3. Do you want me to say goal scorers?
You can
I'm going to go Son, Johnson if he's fit. Yeah, I think he's fit. Kulishevsky. I'm going to say the front three. Going to get a goal each.
Cool. Listen, tomorrow's going to be a mad game. I'm telling you that now because attacking wise, they've got DRB, they've got Watkins, they've got McGinn in the middle. They've got players. They've got players that can turn up and win the game, just like that. Tommy Cooper, right? Midfield is going to be very interesting because whoever wins the battle in the midfield controls the midfield well. But as much as we've got pace in Johnson, Son maybe if he's and Kulu, but we've already said that it's only Johnson. They've got Watkins, and that the ball over the top is going to absolutely murder us if they're going to go for that for pace, like you've already mentioned it with Davis and Dyer.
I'm concerned. Sorry, Sid. What I was going to say, if we could control the game to large parts of the game, where we control the ball, control where it is on terms of the pitch and territory and all the rest of it, that's great. But the problem is when they might even give up possession tomorrow. They might give up to maybe 30%. I don't know. But the way they've been playing, they might not. I'm not quite sure. But I think because we're a dominant team at home, I think Emery will give us that respect and probably play a little bit differently. So I think they might give us the ball a little bit more. But we just got to be so careful. They might even have 5 or 6 attempts and probably score 4 goals from them. That's how I think that the game's going to go tomorrow. So we'll see.
My fear is they're strong in every position, midfield, forward, and defensively they are conceding because they have lost games heavily. Yeah, you know.
Away from home, particularly. Yeah. Away from home, they don't seem to, and that's what I was just going back to. They seem to have not maybe respected as the I don't know how the games have gone, but because of the scoreline, they haven't managed to win in the last whatever it is.
Yeah.
They maybe have trying to play the same way and just same way they play at home, the same way they play away. But the way they play at home, they get results. They don't score less than 3 goals. If it clicks for them away from home, which it could click for them against Dr. Tottenham. Remember what our old nickname was, guys? Dr. Tottenham.
We've lost 2 games now and injuries, and now we're all panic stricken.
I'm not panic. I'm just concerned.
Yeah, I know.
Just concerned.
You know what? I'm sure Postecoglou's got a plan. I'm sure he'll have his way. Obviously, he's going to play the way he does. He's not going to change that for nobody. Emery's the same kind of player as well. He likes to play that way. I think I won't be watching it from behind the sofa like Simply Ace, but I'll be at the stadium. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It ain't going to be 0-0. Yeah. I think Spurs 3-2. I was going to go with Villa to win 3-2, but you mentioned that their away record's not very good, and we've won 14 at home and they've only won 7 away. I think we'll hold that for a 3-2 win because both teams are going to concede.
You're right. I really hope you're right.
Both teams are going to concede, and both teams have got good goalkeepers. David Clark, Villa are that good. They have only won 2 away games, 3-1 at Burnley and 1-0 at Chelsea, who had 10 men, and Villa are no Real Madrid. That's what I'm saying. Away from home, they're not very good. They can be beaten, but they can score goals.
They have the potential. That's the thing. They're not where they are just off by accident. I know it's because of their home record, but that means they have the potential. If they get it right, they could really get it right away from home, because I can see how they could. I can see how they can play against us. Most teams can play against us, and they have more weapons than most in attack. So
yeah. So 2-2, 3-3, and 3-2 to Spurs. So I think we're all going for like high scoring game. Hopefully we get the 3 points and we're not on the reaction show having meltdowns. Right. So
I'm gonna change my name like Paxton, but
final thoughts then, people. Final thoughts, final prep talk for the game on Sunday, starting with you, Pav.
It's going to be a tough game. It's not going to be easy. We can't lose our heads. We've got to keep focused. I'm dreading the lineup. And, you know, Emery's transformed Villa. And let's just hope that Ange has got a plan. And it's at home. The fans need to get behind the team and Ange. And we've just got to go in full guns and blaze. So, yeah, we've just got to get behind him and go from there, haven't we?
Yeah. Sam, I bet you worry when you leave home that you have left the gas on.
No, I worry that I might have locked the door. You know the ones you think, have I locked the door? And then you go back and check. I've done that many times.
Right. What's your thoughts, Sam?
My final thoughts are, it's a game that we must win. But as you can see, I'm concerned that it could be a game that we don't win. So, yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a high-scoring, exciting game. Let's just hope we come out the better side of it. I hope we go with your scoreline as 3-2 as opposed to mine and Pav's.
This is it, because at the end of the day, Pat, obviously, Postecoglou's going to have his team set up the way he wants them. He's not going to change the way he plays. He's just got to hope now that obviously all the players are up fit 100% up for the game on Sunday. We're at home, which is massive because you've got the fans behind you, and fans have been fantastic. So you've got that. Players will be up for it. We've just got to go win that game, because the games coming up are hard, but we've got players coming back. One more game, Romero comes back. So things, you know, we've just got to get the points.
One more game's Man City. The way you just threw it out there, said, "Oh, we've got one more game and Romero's coming back." Just threw it out there. That game's Man City, fam.
Doesn't matter. Listen.
Stop, Sam.
Listen. Man City are worried. Listen. Pep Guardiola doesn't like playing Spurs. He just wants to score a goal against us. Come on. He just wants to score a goal against us. You never know, mate. Some of the things that happen. Wolverhampton Wanderers beat Man City. Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, joking aside, it's one game at a time. We have to 100%. See Villa. We have to see Villa first. Forget about Man City, because a lot can happen in a week of football. A lot can happen with the games that happen at this weekend. So let's get our game won. That's all I would have liked. All I've predicted a draw.
Absolutely. And like David said, Dyer's going to have the game of his life. Never felt this way before. Anyway, great show, ladies and gentlemen, from Simply Ace. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening for the preview show for Sunday. Thank you to you, Sam. Thank you to you, Pav. Please, if you haven't already, smash that like button. Make sure you do it. Subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, have a lovely weekend. Spurs on Sunday. Join us for the reaction show. Thank you very much. And come on, you Spurs!
Develop,